Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Yay, there it is. Welcome to a special episode of Dion's Daily Dose. Today we're just hanging out with my buddy Jim. There he is. There's nothing other than full disclaimer. There is a very good chance that this will not be safe for work. Jim is a very unfiltered individual. That's the word for it. Unfiltered, raw.
Raw. Don't say raw. Okay. that sounds the wrong message.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Maybe it's the wrong message. Definitively. Yeah. So, what does it like to point out that it is definitively not safe for work. I don't know why that changed, but it did. Let me go see if I can fix. There it is. Okay, so real quick before we get started, if you want to sign for your yard, just visit the website. You can email me also, talk@dionbergeron.com. You can ask questions that you want answered on the show. You can also request signs, shirts, etc. And if for some reason you want to give me money and can't afford to, then you can either go on my website, click the donate button, because let's face it, campaigns cost money. I would like to do a lot more. I'd like to put more social media stuff out there. Do not send me money if you cannot afford to. Please pay your bills first. Then if you have money left over that you want to help, I would appreciate it. There, that's all of that out of the way. Now, so there's a couple things that we're going to talk about. Mostly we're just kind of hanging out. Give him a chance to meet you guys, say hello, and you can see, what my regular non-political life is like. It's just me. This guy has known me since 7th grade. We used to cause a lot of.
You really want to go on
a lot of trouble? No, we're not going to give. We're not going to. No, not all of it. I was just letting people know that we've known each other for a long time. Paul, thanks for joining us. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to get Jim's reaction on. The first of which he hasn't read what the governor has said. So we're going to touch on that. We're going to get his reaction, and we're also going to touch on our mayor and the order that he is continuing. Let's see here. I got to share the screen. I'm hoping that it won't lag like it did. I tried to close everything else down. So here is the mayor's executive order. He is continuing it despite what governor said, which I'll kind of get into. So Mayor Perry and his administration are reviewing the new orders and his plans for reopening the state. In the meantime, the order that was issued on April 7, 2020 still remains in full force and effect and includes the following provisions. The opening of only essential retail businesses, necessities of life, such as grocery stores, hardware stores, pharmacies, convenience stores, and gas stations, and limiting the number of customers in said establishments. A citywide curfew between the hours of 10 p.m. and 5 a.m.
This has been a point of contention between the two of us.
Since
it has. The whole thing dropped.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go back to
if we want to bullet point that one.
Yeah. So here's the reality, right? Jim and I disagree on this whole curfew thing. When it dropped, I actually sent him a text. I was like, So is this some BS or what? And he and I don't see eye to eye.
And I said, no.
No. To him, it's not. He actually has a different view of it than I do.
Okay. Well, I understand. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
I get where you're coming from.
Okay.
The counterpoint is, there's nothing to do after 10 o'clock when everything's closed anyway.
Right. But
Number one.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay.
Okay. So that's really kind of a non-issue there. Number two, there's no checkpoints. There's no Gestapo out there. There's, no guys putting black bags over your head because you're out at 10:25 and the curfew was at 10 o'clock.
Right.
We're not in the Nazi state that some people want to make it out to be.
Right. I will agree there. I will say that Indiana State Police, LaPorte County, and Michigan City Police Department have all stated that they are not proactively enforcing those rules. Now, the thing that I find interesting is are they pulling people over specifically for being out? No, they're not. What they're doing is, if you're screwing up otherwise, they're tacking those charges on.
Well,
I mean,
that's tale as old as time anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, it all comes down to economics anyway.
Yeah.
When you start writing the tickets, you're just racking up a tab.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Let's face it. But
yeah, now we're talking definitively about, well, I should say specifically about LaPorte County, Michigan City right now. Lake County has different rules. Porter County has actually probably been the most hands-off out of the three.
And like I said,
one.
I get it. I understand, and am I like, well, this is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really think this is what should happen. Not necessarily.
Okay.
I don't think it's any cause for, don't load your guns yet.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. This is not the time to rise up, because you can't go out and do nothing because there's nothing to do anyway.
Right. Here was my point that I even said, via text, was, who are you to tell me what time I can and cannot be out? I actually happen to be a night person. I have been for many years. It's just I used to drive at night as a truck driver, less traffic, get more distance covered.
I get it. I work third shift.
So we're both kind of that ilk. My issue is, who are you to tell me when I can and can't be out? If I want to go drive, right, completely by myself, windows down, blasting my music, not even residential area, right, just out.
Well, I know I'm kind of going back on myself now, because I know I said it's not a big deal, and it's not.
Okay.
To me, it's not a big deal.
Right.
But the thing that, playing my own devil's advocate, if I were you, was like, well, why is it okay for me to go out during the day?
Yeah. Right.
And, there's no restrictions during the day, but at night, you can't go do anything. Well, there's nothing to do, so what are you worried about?
Yeah.
There's no social gatherings.
Right.
So what am I spreading?
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than my boredom to the wind.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Is the virus somehow more deadly after 10 p.m.?
I mean, well, the jury's still out on that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, once the sun goes down, is it like,
the devil does his best work at night. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
I realize I'm kind of all over the map on this, but the main thing I want to take away from this is not that big a deal right now.
Right.
Make a note of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Move on with your life.
Right. Paul brings up, you can walk the beach at night. What's the issue there? Cooling, loud music therapy. I agree.
Wait, hold on. Let's go back to that walk the beach at night thing.
Yeah.
When was that a thing? Because I thought the beaches were closed at night. I haven't been out for a while. So
right. No,
I
they
work at
used to
night,
be.
so.
They used to be open until I thought midnight. At least certain areas, like Washington Park, would be closed anyway.
Yeah, I thought
but
Washington Park was like 11 o'clock, and the rest of them were considered private beaches anyway. So.
Yeah, well, I think isn't Stop. What is it? I forget which one down there. You can actually go at night.
Yeah, I don't know, because the last time I walked the beach, I was a punk-ass kid. So
it's been a very long time. Whatever. Yeah. So
that sticker there, man.
I'm not trying to. Whatever. Here's the thing. I'm not.
I don't get sued
get paid by them.
The manufacturer of this
right
beverage.
So we have like Manuel. He states because he works in Oak Lawn, right? They made it absolutely mandatory to wear masks in public. What's your stance on that? There's
a lot to unpack there.
There is.
Okay, so number one, I'm not saying that wearing masks is stupid. Okay? That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Wink, wink. Okay?
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
But here's my experience, okay? Mm-hmm. I went to Meijer maybe a week ago. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe less. I don't know. But I'm seeing people with all sorts of masks, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you can see these air quotes here, but I've seen people with crocheted masks. I've seen people with, just whatever they could get their hands on. Like, the ingenuity here is, I'm surprised I didn't see somebody with duct tape wrapped around their head.
Yeah.
Because, why not?
It would not surprise me.
That's why.
Right, because science. Yeah.
I think maybe, and not to, get to one side or the other, but I think maybe some people are going a little overboard on this whole thing. Yeah. Especially when you see the people who are wearing masks, wearing the right mask, wearing the proper mask, wearing them wrong.
Yeah.
Wearing them under their nose.
Yeah.
Wearing them over their nose, but under their, above their mouth.
Speaking of that.
Doing? Why are you wearing?
Right.
Come on.
Right. So that reminds me, I know, hold on. I actually want to show you.
Another reaction video, great.
Right, no, it's not a video. I just want to show you.
Okay.
Whoops.
No. Yeah, close enough.
Yeah. So where is it at? There's images. They can't see this yet, so
okay. Well, that's good because I saw the word pencil neck somewhere, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. So
that's not the views.
Right. They can't see this, just so you know.
No, but they can hear it.
They can hear it, yeah. So basically, we see these. I've seen pictures of various representatives out in public. I was looking for it. I can't find it right now. That are wearing these masks, and they're not wearing them right. I saw one with Shifty Schiff. I saw one with Maxine Waters. Oh, wow. Mask worn. Trying to find it so I can share it with you guys. But anyway, we have. Yeah, I'm not able to find it right now.
No, you're not gonna. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And besides, even if it was there,
speaking of the whole mask thing.
Yeah. Okay? So back to masks.
Let's talk for just a second about, and I don't know if I'm opening up a can of worms here or not. But,
all right. No, remember, hold on. I got to give the last little, any and all views expressed are the views
These are mine. These are all mine. I own them.
Yeah, not necessarily the views of Dion for Congress, please.
Yeah. These are all me. Yeah. Okay. Please.
Yeah.
So the whole Pence mask thing.
Oh my God, dude! Oh my God!
Am I opening up something
no,
here?
By all means, because
I don't. Number one, I don't avoid the news thing.
Right.
But the news makes me angry more often than not. So
yeah,
I tend to take everything with a grain of salt and usually just shrug it off. So I don't know, and while we're on that particular topic. Man, a lot of tangents here.
Bear with us. He'll get there.
It's roundabout.
Yeah.
So, depending on which news source you're, subscribing to,
right,
is the story you're going to get. So,
yeah,
I don't know about other than the fact that, some people are saying, well, he didn't wear this mask, and there's this news reporter that they're like giving a whole bunch of grief to.
Right.
I don't know what's going on with that. All I know is Mike Pence didn't wear a mask.
Right.
And apparently that made some people pretty salty.
Yes, it did. Basically, I'll kind of fill you in. So he went to visit the hospital, right? And I guess there were two separate occasions, is my understanding.
Okay, so it was a hospital.
There was a hospital, and then my understanding is he also went to the GM place or a plant, right? Because there were two separate incidents, I believe. Let's see. Let's find out.
Okay, well, I know because I've been keeping up on the GM thing because it's relevant to me.
Yeah.
I won't go too far into that.
Yeah. See, Mayo Clinic mask tweet, and then he wore it at GM.
Okay. But not at the Mayo Clinic.
Didn't at the Mayo Clinic. Right here.
Okay.
I'll share so you guys can see the screen.
Okay.
There you go.
Now I have an opinion.
Yeah, there you go.
So, at an automotive plant, he's wearing this mask, which I get because if you listen to the UAW, to the Auto Workers Union, I mean, they're just having cases of COVID just all over
left
the place.
And right, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that's not true. I'm not saying that's true. I'm not giving any kind of opinion on that.
Yeah.
I have to take that at face value, but that makes sense.
Yeah.
But now you're at a hospital.
Right.
A hospital where sick people
right.
with no mask.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
That was my thing. One or the other, homie.
Pick one. There's one word to sum that up.
Okay.
That's stupid. Okay? If you're in a hospital with sick people and you're not wearing a mask around sick people in a pandemic.
Yeah. Well, his answer was that.
Well, here's my answer. Okay, not to cut you off, but here's my answer. Mm-hmm. This is 2 words. Sum this up. Natural selection.
Mm-hmm.
I have respiratory problems, not COVID. Don't worry about that. Fuck it. I got worked up.
Yeah.
So
we're all gonna die.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, that's a brain cramp on Pence's.
Right.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Brain cramp, Pence. Chalk it up. Moving on.
Right. So, yeah, he wears one at the GM plant. And so we can't get in too much about what Jim does for a living. I've talked about it before.
I mean, we could, but I don't want to.
Right. Yeah, he's a very private person. Basically, none your business. But he builds engine parts. I've discussed it before. That get used in GM cars and trucks. So that's why he cares about what happens at GM plants. And I'm with that. Now, kind of back to the mayor's order here.
I told you to come back around.
All right. So the executive order keeps Pullman Park and Washington Park closed, limits occupancy for commercial lodgings and short-term rentals, and requires individuals who maintain second homes in Michigan City to self-quarantine for 14 days upon arriving to the city. So the Michigan City Common Council approved and extended this executive order, which, unless renewed or modified, is set to expire at 11:59 p.m. 7/2020. Thus, only essential retail businesses. Blah 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 blah. Here's what it boils down to. The mayor's office got a bunch of calls about Lighthouse Mall. They're letting you know Lighthouse Mall staying closed, Blue Chip staying closed. You can't get a haircut, and deal with it. That's really what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. Whether you agree or disagree, it is what it is. So that is our illustrious mayor, and I know that you have your own kind of opinions.
Okay, so
on that.
Let's touch on that for a second. And It doesn't just apply to the mayor, to the city government, or any of that. This pretty much applies to everything.
Right.
So when something happens like COVID-19, we have this pandemic or whatever you want to call it, and all of a sudden people are like, do something.
Right.
Do something. Do something. This isn't Hogwarts, okay? For those Harry Potter fans out there, shout out.
Yeah.
I'm not, incidentally, but that's neither here nor there. But they don't have magic wands. They can't magic you a solution, so they have to do the best with what they got.
Right.
So, social distancing, quarantines, stay at homes, stuff like that. All of a sudden, everybody's like, well, no, that's not what we meant. Well, you said to do something.
Right.
So, when you rub the lamp and the genie comes out and you make your wish, you get what you get.
Yeah. So, they have people that are like marching on the courthouse in Michigan, the state house, and they had people gathered outside the governor's residence here in Indiana. What's your...
I don't think I can give an objective opinion about anything that happens in Michigan. I have some very pointed opinions about Michigan, their laws, their government, some of their people.
Right.
No offense to Michigan people, but your state is a hot mess. I mean, it just is. It just is.
Yeah.
So I can't. I feel bad giving any kind of opinion about it.
Okay, well, let's talk about Indiana then, because we have people in Indiana that gathered in front of Holcomb's residence, the governor's mansion, right? Who said, "Open up Indiana, open it up. We're tired of being locked down. We're tired of the social distancing." And of course, the other side of that said, you got the people in scrubs protesting the protesters, right?
And you want to know at the end of the day, the bottom line, the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
My opinion is everybody just needs to calm down.
Okay.
Just calm down.
Okay.
I don't want to get too much into. I mean, we're really going down the rabbit hole here, but in the information age, in the digital age, where information is so prevalent and everybody has a voice, and every idea, every thought, regardless of how rooted in intelligence or not, just goes out into the ether, just like that,
right? And
people are so quick to latch onto them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
we are so. This is going to be a very controversial thing here, but I really believe that in this time, in the here and now, we have never been more divided as a people than now in the information age. World of information at your fingertips. Yeah. I have a little box in my pocket that will tell me anything I want to know, whether it's true or not.
Right. Let's be clear. Information is one thing. Truth is another. Oh, because I got to. What do you think about my truth?
You know what? This is interesting because I had, we'll say, a conversation.
Yeah.
About something very similar. Not you and I.
Yeah.
Myself and someone else who shall remain nameless.
Right.
Years ago, like many years ago, like maybe 20 years ago, about the concept of truth. And it was told to me that the truth is, and I quote, what you make it.
Wow. That seems
I hope you made that face for the camera because it was priceless. And I said, no, the truth is not what you make it. The truth is the truth. It is what it is. It is cold. It is emotionless. It is fact.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else goes into it.
Right. The truth is...
this whole idea of it's better to be morally right than factually accurate is horseshit.
Yes. I agree.
Let me say that again for the people who are offended. Horse shit.
Yep. I agree with that. the truth is not malleable. It is what happened versus made up stuff.
Opinion is subjective.
Right. Opinion is subjective. Truth and fact are not. So we're done with the mayor's stuff. Basically, it's the same crap. It's saying that it's going to continue until at least May 7th. At least until set to expire at 11:59 p.m. on May 7th, unless he extends it, which he may. So Jim has not had a chance to listen to our illustrious Governor Holcomb and his plan for Indiana. So we're going to share this with him. We're not going to watch it or spend a lot of time on it.
Just the Reader's Digest.
The bullet points, right? We're just going to touch on the bullet points real quick. Let's see here. There's that. I don't know if you guys can see that okay. Let's go to that. There we go. So
I saw a post on there that just said Fauci.
Oh, yeah. So
I don't know about him, but I kind of need verbs. I'm not being offensive or anything. No. I'm just like, I'm a big fan of verbs.
Yeah. Basically, Paul believes that Fauci essentially is a deep state actor that is purposefully lying and twisting. He has reversed course several times in the past.
I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to comment.
Yeah.
Dollar Tree in Oakland is refusing service
if
you don't wear a mask.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
monkey paw, whatever that means. Snorkel. I can do that too.
Yeah, basically,
I don't mean to offend anybody on here, so
no. Here's the thing: if you're offended things that Jim says, then you're not going to want me as your representative. I'm just being honest.
Well, I mean, that may not necessarily be the
at least so far
be the point,
right?
But,
at least so far. If you're offended up to this point,
if you're offended, that's fine. You can be offended. That's your God-given right as an American to be offended.
Yeah,
I just don't care.
Right. He doesn't care.
And I mean that with the most love and respect that I possibly can.
Right. So here's the kind of the
gist.
The gist of it. Yeah. So it's to get Indiana, quote, back on track. We will employ a three-pronged approach to detect the virus through robust testing, not just regular testing. Robust testing.
Yeah, I see a lot of buzzwords there.
Yeah, trace identified cases to prevent its spread and protect Hoosiers as they return to work in the economy by developing a steady supply line of personal protective equipment.
Okay,
What's open, what's closed.
I detect some derision in there.
No, I'm just reading it with a little bit of aplomb.
A little panache.
A little panache. That's all.
Okay.
Basically, what it comes down to is there are multiple. It's going to open in PDF, unfortunately, so I'm not sure if I can get this, but there we go. Okay, so Governor Holcomb has used data to drive decisions since our first case of the novel coronavirus in early March.
This looks like a bunch of just
it is
rhetoric.
Yeah. So since the number of patients has decreased and allegedly we are having surge capacity, and since we allegedly can attest all Hoosiers who are symptomatic, health officials have systems in place, blah, 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 blah.
Right. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. So here's the back on track plan. Okay. So what they want to do is they're talking about strike teams and adding testing locations and using contact tracing. But here's really...
Hold on. Let's get to this contact tracing. What does that mean exactly?
That's a good question. So contact tracing means, according to the PDF document, identifying cases through expanded testing is only part of the plan to stay ahead of COVID-19. Indiana will also aggressively track new cases through a centralized contact tracing program to help stop the future spread of the virus.
Because I'm going to talk about that for a second. Because there's something I have... we'll just say an issue with.
Yes.
Okay, because I read something, and like I said, I pretty much glean all of this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not an expert. By
have you seen the video, just before you go any further, have you seen the of Former President Bill Clinton speaking with Governor
Okay, if it involves Bill Clinton, then I have not seen it.
Newsom of California, where they actually want to have an army of people to, quote, contact trace.
Ooh, okay, when you say army of people,
Yeah.
okay, what are we talking like, quotes around the army?
No,
Or
I
are we
mean, that's
talking
essentially what they said.
Armed
Right.
military people.
That's my concern because, and hold on, Newsom contact. It was this meeting that they had via online, and it's very disturbing to me. Here, Mercury News. Here it is. So it was this right here, right? And of course, there's still, Clinton Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, University, blah, 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 blah. But
we won't get into Clinton.
Yeah. So basically what it comes down to is they want to track people using apps and groups of people in order to keep track of who has the virus, who has come into contact with people with it.
And there's where I'm having a problem.
Okay.
Is when when Android and Apple and Google and all of these people that have trenched themselves into our daily lives so much, say we're going to start tracking you through your devices, which are really our devices because we can do whatever we want with them.
Right.
That bothers me a little bit. Not like tinfoil hat kind of bothers me.
Right.
But where's the line? Is my question. Is like it's bad enough. You people are already trying to target advertise me through Facebook and through my Google searches and all that. It's like I shouldn't have to have all my stuff go through anonymous browsers.
Right.
I shouldn't have to have my own VPN.
Yeah, it shouldn't be necessary, but it is. Hold on, we're having a lag issue here. I'm gonna put this up while I reboot the phone for a moment. Not a big deal. Sometimes it does that. I'm still working on getting the bugs ironed out. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes it freezes for whatever reason, but it's fixed now.
Oh, so when I start talking about Google and Android now, all of a sudden
audio still works.
Up. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course it does.
Just
they still want to hear what I have
to say.
Yeah.
Well, they listen all the time. So that's look, joking aside, a lot of people don't understand that your microphone is always on. It's always listening, whether it's your phone, whether it's your smart TV, whether it's it has to listen for the words that, quote, wake it up, right? Your Alexa, your Google Home, all of these things are always listening to you. And the same is true with your Android phone or your iPhone. They're the same. Doesn't matter.
Just only the names change.
Only the names change, right? Everything else stays the same. So it looks like we're actually going to stop sharing that. It looks like we might. There we go. We're having a little bit of lag. It seems for whatever reason whenever I screen share, it causes a little bit of lag.
50 cents to $1. That's classic.
Yeah.
Thank you for that wisdom.
Instead of saying.
Let's not even go into it. Let's just leave it
alone.
where it is.
Leave it alone.
Leave it one of life's great mysteries.
All right. So there's one thing that we definitively wanted to talk about, though. We saw the governor and how there's this process, right? This step-by-step process to kind of get the state back on track. But in the meantime, we have Congress and the president talking about all of these programs that are in place to kind of help people make it through. One of the programs is the CARES Act. Right? Mm-hmm. And the CARES Act, it covered several things, but one of the most important, largest, whatever parts of the CARES Act was the relief check that went out for $1,200 for adults, and then add for dependents on it. But a bigger, more important part of it, in my opinion, was the increased unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people aren't talking about that.
Nobody's talking about it. Yeah. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is talking about it.
Right.
You know, outside of like my household,
right.
You know, there's no news reports about it. Nobody's talking about that.
Right.
Everybody's talking about when are we getting our next check?
Yeah.
What's the next step in the stimulus? What are you talking about?
Right.
You're getting an extra if you get unemployment, which assumes that at some point you worked.
Right. Right.
That you're getting an extra $2,400 a month.
Right. That's
in unemployment on top of your regular unemployment, which I won't even go into that because that varies from state to state.
Yeah. But here in Indiana, it has a definitive cap. Right?
It does have a definitive cap.
Not that I don't care about other states, but I'm running for Congress to represent Indiana in Washington, D.C.
Well, and realistically, this is what we know. This is where we're at.
That's what I mean. So Indiana's cap is on the upper side of the 300 range, just shy of 400.
390 is the upper cap.
Right. So before the CARES Act, $390 a week was what you were able to get. I think it's like $394 or something like that.
No, it's $390.
$390 even.
$390.
Okay. He knows more about this because he is currently laid off.
Furloughed.
For what?
Furloughed.
Furloughed. I'm sorry. There's a difference.
Whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it. Right. So there's a definitive cap as to the maximum that you can get. So let's look at the monthly on that, right? So we have $390 a week, and then times what? 4.3, right, is what they do. $390 times 4.3 is $1,677 a month is max. Before the CARES Act. Now, with the CARES Act, they added a $600 a week cap, right? $600 a week on top of what you could get before. Now, look, I think the unemployment cap should be higher than what it is for Indiana, but that's what it was. So
there's more factors involved than that, because it's like I think it's like 60%.
Yeah, it's a certain percentage.
Like there's a percentage.
Like 2/3 or something.
I don't know
a
what
percentage of what your base salary was or whatever. Liz has it brought up. 490 times 4.3 plus 600 times 4.3. You now can make $4,077 a month. $4,000 a month.
No, that's.
Is that not right?
I don't know. I thought she was talking about something else with the 4077.
That
was a MASH reference, but
let's see. 60 times 4.3 is 2580.
Okay.
And then plus 1677. Hold on. Plus 16.
Regardless.
Whatever.
There's a significant amount of money there.
Yeah, so
a lot more than a $1,200 stimulus check.
Right.
A lot more than a $2,000 a month check that everybody's hoping for.
Yeah, where did that even come from? You're going to get paid to sit at home, but let's talk about the unemployment and the fact that there are actually people out there that are 4257 is what actually she came up with. Okay. So either way. $4,000 a month, right? Just out of curiosity. So you have people out there that are actually talking to their bosses because the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, makes it to where these businesses can get tagged. In many cases, forgiven loans, which essentially free money, as long as they keep people on the payroll. And there are people out there that are complaining, right? Because they make more on unemployment. 51,000. I just did that's what I was doing. $51,084 a year to stay at home on unemployment. Mm-hmm. Now, if you weren't making anywhere close to that, now
Well, here's the thing, man,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of factors that go into that, you know,
Yeah.
and it applies to some people, it doesn't apply to others. So this is just a broad stroke.
Yeah.
So keep in mind that, like myself, you know, yeah, I'm getting my unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a good decent amount of money from unemployment.
Right.
What I'm not getting is my medical insurance premiums taken out.
Right.
I'm not getting my 401k premiums taken out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, none of these things that usually come out of my check are getting taken out.
Right.
On top of that, I know this varies from company situation to situation, but in my particular situation, while I'm off of work, I have to pay that money back.
Yeah.
Because they're continuing my benefits while I'm off work and not paying those premiums.
Mm.
They're footing the bill for that. I have to pay that money back. I just got a bill from my company for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so
that's the
that
other thing.
happens.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to put some of that money away. You know, that a little bit of that fucking stimulus check, set aside.
Yeah.
Don't buy that new iPhone.
Right.
Don't get the new TV. Don't get the new fucking PS5.
Right.
Put it in the bank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too is, and I feel like this is really important to say to people is, you've got those people that look at this stimulus check or whatever as so-called free money. The government has, in many places and in many locations, the government has stepped up and said, we're going to temporarily pause shutoffs, right, for NIPSCO, for internet service providers, for in many cases even like AT&T and Comcast,
but you're
Xfinity,
going to have
whatever.
to pay that money. They're not just going to let that go.
Right. At some point, all this stuff's going to be due. You're going to have to pay these bills at some point. And that's the big issue is what happens when that switch gets flipped back on, right? When they go, pay us. These people, not everybody, but there are these people that are going out there and, buying the new iPhone, buying the new big screen TV, that's like, oh, thanks, Trump. And
I'm not trying to like rag on nobody.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All I'm saying is, set some of that back.
Think
it's
about
just
those things.
Smart.
Yep. Think about those things because when, like, for example, with your mortgage, right? Yeah, you might be able at this point to, skip a mortgage payment, for example. But at some point, the mortgage company wants their money. They want that moolah. That's what it makes the world go round is the money.
If you're lucky, it'll get deferred and put on the back end.
That's what I hope. That's what I'd like to see.
If you're not lucky, then they're just waiting it out.
Right.
And then when the smoke clears, they're gonna go, oh yeah, your tabs come due.
Right.
I mean, look at this like a bar tab.
Yeah. Well,
eventually you're going to have to pay it, or you don't get to drink there anymore.
Right. And that's really what it comes down to is at some point, all this stuff's going to come due. And my heart goes out to those people that are, for example, if you work part-time, right, and you got laid off, in many cases, you don't qualify for unemployment. Did they pull that? Did they make it to where?
I think they did.
There's
a lot of, I know a lot of people.
I know they changed some
who
stuff.
Wouldn't normally get unemployment are.
Yeah.
Because of the CARES Act.
Let's see here.
Which whoever you want to thank for that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna call it a team effort.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how it should be. It's not the Senate or the president or any of that. It was all of them coming together.
Person. Yep.
As it should be.
So yeah, this is Michigan. It's not Indiana, but this says that they're reduced based on your earnings you receive when working. Working and collect. So that was my question: was can you?
That's for partial unemployment.
This is not what I'm.
If you're working.
Yeah, if you're working,
I don't know how that works, honestly. That bears some further research. I'm not going to do it.
I don't know because it doesn't affect you. I was just wondering because before, right? I know that
you had to make so much money. You had to put so much money into the system.
Right.
But with the CARES Act, I think that changes things.
Yeah,
because the CARES Act, the extra $600 doesn't care.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that was the other thing is no matter whether you made a very little amount of money or a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. It was for everybody.
You got extra $600.
Everybody who gets unemployment. Sorry for the people who don't work.
Right.
Gets that $600.
Yeah. So that actually brings up my next point. So we have all these people that are complaining, right? That are, well, I get SSI or Social Security, and how come I'm not getting $600 extra a week?
Because nothing's changed for you.
Right.
Literally nothing has changed for you. If you are getting the same disability you always have or the same SSI you've always had or whatever, your circumstance has not changed.
Right.
Sorry you don't get the extra money.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's not the lottery.
Yeah.
You didn't win a sweepstakes.
Yeah.
This is for the people who were, they were used to making this much money and now they're not. This is to help those people out. I'm sorry that's the way it is, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the law that, got passed.
Why are you complaining? Because
you did
your life is no different.
Right.
Financially speaking.
Yeah.
Financially speaking, everything is the same for you. Nothing, your financial situation hasn't been uprooted. It's the same as it ever was. It's the same day to day. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that.
Right. I'm with you.
You're complaining because they got a cookie and you didn't. And that's just
cookie's bigger than mine.
That seems childish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, and this is,
you know what? To put a little bit of my personal stuff out there. I didn't get the stimulus check. I have back child support. Won't go into the details of that, but it is what it is.
It doesn't matter.
I have back child support, and that is literally the only thing that they will take that stimulus check for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can owe taxes.
Am I happy about it? No. I kind of wanted that money too.
Right.
Am I salty about it? No, because that went to my back child support. That is money that I owed. That is money that I had to pay. That's money I'm happy to pay. That's the money that takes care of my child.
Right.
So that still only helps me, but I didn't get that money.
Yeah.
I didn't get a check.
Right.
I didn't get $1,200 in the bank. There's nothing for me.
Right.
That $1,200 is just gone for me.
Right.
And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like it, don't like it, doesn't matter. That's how it is.
So kind of almost on the same, it's still the same topic, but a little bit to the side. So there's an issue, I guess, that's been happening for people that are married to people without a Social Security number, right? Immigrants that are not here legally. Okay. So.
The face I'm making right now?
Yeah, I see it. Here's basically just my question, right? Do you think that it's wrong to penalize an American citizen for being married to someone who's not here legally?
How so?
Because here's what it breaks down to, right? The person, it's not that the person who's not here legally doesn't get a check, because everybody, at least me, I agree that shouldn't happen. They shouldn't get paid, right? However, the people that are married to them, when they file jointly, there are many cases where they're not getting any stimulus money.
Now we're talking a problem than that.
Right.
Now, going in this hypothetical situation, you're married to somebody who is not, whatever you want to call them, undocumented, whatever. Illegal immigrant. Thank you.
In stereo sound.
You're married to an illegal immigrant.
Right.
You're filing jointly.
Right.
You don't see a problem with that? You are pretty much telling the federal government, hey, look, we're breaking the law.
Right.
And I'm going to try to get a tax credit for that.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to try to censor myself a little bit here.
Okay. Why bother?
And, not,
yeah.
Go with my knee-jerk reaction.
Right.
But are you dumb? I mean, really?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Wouldn't you want to be as low-key as possible? Now, do I think that, like, couldn't get their $1,200 because of that?
Right.
Yeah, not necessarily. You should still get the money that everybody else is getting.
Yeah.
As long as your child support is current.
Yeah. Right.
But that's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Is this a thing? Are they not getting their check?
Right. It's actually I just read something about that.
I mean,
if that's actually happening.
If that is the case,
yeah.
Feel free to complain to your government.
Complain to your elected representative and tell them that.
Let them know that it's unfair that the illegal immigrant that you're harboring is causing you some distress, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take care of that for you.
Right. Make sure you call the ICE hotline. Because
you wouldn't quite call whoever you got to call.
It was a joke.
They'll help you out.
It's a joke. Yeah,
they'll lead you to the right people.
Yeah, they'll guide you.
See, that's
right,
why he's the politician.
Right. Yeah.
I work in the factory.
Right. Hey, that's the other. So, in your opinion, right? Speaking of, am I officially a politician once I declared a candidacy, or do I have to actually get elected first before I have to wear that moniker? I'm just curious what you think.
I'm going to go with, right now, this is kind of like your focus.
Right.
So that kind of puts you in the politician kind of
category.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
It's not like something you're doing.
Title
it's not something you're doing on the side. It's not like a hobby. This is really you're putting your best foot forward on that.
Right. Trying to.
That kind of puts you in the arena.
Yeah. Okay. I was just wondering because politicians suck. Man, that's why I was just.
Well, there is a certain stigma.
Yeah, though that's what I mean. At least as a candidate, I can say that.
If you put whatever spin you want on it,
that's pretty much what it boils down to is just putting whatever. Go. Dog's whining. He wants to out.
You want out?
Go. You know how to you can open the door with your nose. Jeez. There you go. Go.
Be free.
Yeah. Go. Run. Be free. So yeah. Apparently it's happening. So let me ask you this then. California, right?
I'm sorry, I have to laugh with anything that starts with California.
Yeah. They want to hand out money to the illegal immigrants that.
Of course they do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be fair, none of it is taxpayer money. Only part of it.
Does it? At that point, does it matter whose money it is?
Right.
Right. It kind of does, but
it does. But yeah, I hear you.
Well, let's not go into the realm of being subjective or hypothetical. But
okay.
I have read that there has been a proposal within Congress about the next step of stimulus, which involves a $2,000 a month.
Right. Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Mm-hmm. Like everybody. If you're there's an age limit. 16 or over. If you're 16 or over and have lived here since January.
Yeah.
Not if you're a citizen. Not if you're a national, not if you have a social security number or a photo ID, just lived here. You get $2,000 a month for 6 months, 12 months, whatever. Yeah. It's just a proposal. Nothing's set in stone.
Right.
But just the sheer audacity of even bringing that up.
Yeah.
That we're just going to give money to everybody. It's like being on Oprah.
Yeah.
Can I say Oprah on here?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
Look under your chair.
Yeah.
You get $2,000. You get $2,000. You get $2,000.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Where are we coming up with that money?
Right. I know. Well, that's my question too, is where did all the money that we're already handing out come from?
I read I don't remember what news source, and I really wish I did, because I don't want to just like throw stuff out there without citing some sort of source.
Yeah.
But I read it, and I'm like, this has to be satire.
No,
They're like,
not.
it's $2,000 for everybody, for legals, illegals, for just literally everybody over 16. Why are you giving a 16-year-old $2,000 a month?
Right.
That's a hell of an allowance.
Yeah.
And and I'm reading in this article that they were going to pay for this with the Fed. You remember the Fed?
Yeah.
Minting these $1 trillion coins.
Yeah.
These platinum coins. They were just going to print money, essentially. They were going to print money. Now, anybody who knows anything about economics knows that's bad.
Yeah.
You can't just print more money when you run low.
Right.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but it just seems bad to me. You can't just like, oh, we're running low on money. Let's print some more.
Yep.
It devalues the currency.
Right.
But if you're making a new currency, I guess that's different. I guess the rules are different when you make imaginary currency. It's like the Bitcoin, but different.
Right.
But you can hold it.
But you can hold it.
You can't hold a Bitcoin.
So yeah, there's I'm gonna share the screen just long enough so you guys can see it. It is a proposal. There we go. So yeah.
And like I said, it depends on what news source you're listening to right now.
Right. So there's talk of what we need from a second stimulus bill. Here's what I want to see. I want to see us go back to work. That's what I want to see. I want to see people able to earn a living. Because
here's the thing, man. Now, this is not something that's just talking about COVID-19.
Yeah.
This is not something that's just gonna go away.
Right.
Like, okay, we've flattened the curve, we've plateaued, we've whatever. And now it's back to business as usual.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
No.
This thing is here now. It's just here. It's not going to go away until we figure out what it is and find a way around it.
Yeah.
That takes time. That takes people much smarter than myself to do this. And this whole idea, and like I said, I don't mess with the news that much, but just throwing medications against the wall and seeing what sticks seems like a pretty haphazard and draconian way of doing things.
Yeah.
I mean, have we tried leeches yet?
Right.
Are we doing that? Because that might be the cure.
Let me ask you this, right? So, Bill Gates.
Okay. Let's talk about Bill Gates.
Are you going to let him inject you with a
I'm not going to let
vaccine?
Bill Gates in my front door. Nothing personal against Bill Gates, but I hate you and your operating system. I'm just saying. How much is enough money, honestly?
Yeah. This guy has funded vaccines across the world. He has crippled people in Africa, many people, and he is driving an agenda of his own creation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So my question to you is, if it becomes mandatory to have this vaccine in order to kind of go back out into the society and like go back to work and do all that.
Have you ever heard anybody ever tell you, I'll never buy a car the first year it comes out?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
They ain't got all the bugs out of it yet.
No, they
okay,
don't.
And this is just my personal opinion. I don't get a flu shot.
Okay.
Okay? My family does, and that's fine. I don't fault anybody who chooses to get a flu shot. Myself, I don't.
Right.
Personally, I don't like the idea of injecting myself with a virus.
Right.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Now, we start talking about the, mandatory we're kind of treading on some pretty thin ice here, some pretty dangerous territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
In
order for you to maintain your livelihood, in order for you to maintain your freedoms, as it were, you have to do what we tell you.
Right.
You're kind of towing some lines there, I think.
Right.
That's just my.
Do you think that there's a difference? Just out of curiosity, do you think that there's a difference between having the vaccine as a requirement versus having masks as a requirement?
Well, you know how I feel about them. Okay,
That's what I'm asking, yeah.
I mean that's kind of a question that answers itself.
Okay.
Okay, so how controversial do you want to get here? Yeah, well, I mean,
go ahead.
This is a pretty big can of worms that I'm going to open with my next statement. Okay.
I'm with that. Go ahead.
We're talking about injecting something into my body. Okay.
Right.
Now, I seem to recall somebody at some point, somewhere, I don't know where, giving some little mantra called "My Body, My Choice." I mean, I don't know if anybody's heard of that, but and here we go.
Yeah.
My body, my choice.
Right.
Here comes the shitstorm. So, I mean, it's your campaign. So.
Right. Hey, whatever, man.
I don't have a stance on that particular issue, by the way, but good for the goose. Good for the who's this guy who looks like Weird Al?
Yeah.
You're my new best friend.
Yeah.
Sorry, guy. This guy right here.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So Michael Strauss is the Libertarian candidate for District 1. Same deal.
Same
deal I'm running for. He's just instead of Republican, he's the Libertarian
candidate. I know literally nothing about the Libertarians. Don't send me any pamphlets.
That's okay, because they really don't know that much about it themselves either. So
okay. But anyway, no. I mean, if you're going to mandate me to put something in my body, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Invariably.
I mean,
no.
Now that I'm looking, I guess I could see the whole resemblance.
I mean, I took it kind of as a compliment.
Well, yeah, I should. Weird Al.
I love Weird Al.
Yeah, same.
But oh man,
yeah,
we just got off track here. So
yeah, that's right. My body, my choice. Mandated vaccine.
The bottom line is, no. I'm not marching into your medical tents.
Right.
I'm not going into the showers. Yeah. Okay, that's just not to go there with it.
Right.
But,
right. I mean,
I'm not doing it. Okay.
So here's the thing: is they're not going to go door to door. Right? They're not going to go door to door with the Army or the National Guard mandating it. What they'll do is, in my opinion, if this gains traction, right, they'll put it together with the whole ID 2020 and the contact tracing and all that other stuff. And in order to
here it comes. Here comes the hard sell.
What it'll come down to is you'll have to have proof that you had the vaccine in order to go to various, locations and go here and go there. That's the belief, right, as to how they're going to kind of incorporate this.
Right. Yeah.
How they're going to make it happen.
Yeah. You'll get a registration card or a tattoo or a barcode. Barcode. Wow. Barcode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, or they'll give you the little tattoo. Right, where it has, that was the other thing that they were talking about as far as ID 2020 goes, is the ink that will react so that it tells you if you're, have received the vaccine or if you've already had this, coronavirus or any of that, COVID, whatever you want to call it. So that my issue with that whole thing is
everything.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of what it comes down to as well, is these people that are talking about, Now,
let me backtrack.
Okay.
A little bit on that. Okay.
All right.
Because I'm listening to myself say it. Now that I'm listening to myself say it, that kind of makes me sound like an anti-vaxxer.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, but you're not an anti-vaxxer.
I'm not anti-vaxxer.
Okay.
I don't get the flu shot, but that's neither here nor there. My children are all vaccinated. I was vaccinated. I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
Okay.
If it becomes part of the
So
of
Dave-
the regimen,
Dave believes that politicians need to show proof they're not idiots before they pass all this, ridiculous
oh
stuff.
shoot, ask for
Yeah.
the moon, why don't
Right,
you? Come on. I'm not gonna get into that.
That's fine.
That's a hole with
Yeah,
the
that's
bottom right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's opening up a huge can, right? That many of them prove that they are. Yeah, have fun, Michael. Take care.
All right, nice meeting you, Michael.
Yeah. So you're not an anti-vaxxer.
I am
but,
not.
But you have
but the way you presented it to me, it really kind of made it sound more than that.
Okay. I believe,
and like I said earlier, it's not that I'm against a vaccine.
Okay.
But it's like if they said tomorrow we have a vaccine, it's ready, it's done, I would not believe that for a New York minute.
Right. Well, here's the thing: vaccines take a long time.
Somebody's trying to start some shit.
He wants to hear your. It goes back to his previous statement, right? This is what, for what it's worth, Dave Irons is actually the one that I quoted in my open letter, standing up and speaking out against that guy and his wild, crazy opinions.
He who shall not be named.
Right. Unless you want to,
Yeah, I don't. We're talking about something else right now.
Right.
I mean, not to like discount what you're saying, but
but he's just saying that's the kind of person that he was talking about.
Yeah.
Now the good news is, and this is one reason why I have such extensive shows, live streams, whatever. Because I think it's important that you see, who I am, the person that I really am, not the person that's presenting themselves to the world, as many of these politicians do. They get up there, they talk for 5 minutes at a forum, they kind of tell you their platform.
They give the corporate line.
They give the corporate, and then they run with it. You never see who they really are. My thumbnail for this video is the outside of my house. I live in a regular house. I don't live in a mansion. I don't come from a bunch of money. Not that there's anything wrong with having money.
In and of itself.
Money in and of itself is fine. Coming from money, having money. It's what you do with it or don't do with it that change, and how you look at it. If money becomes your all-consuming motivation.
You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah.
Why? When did it become okay to demonize the American dream?
Right.
The heart of capitalism.
Yeah.
You and once again, it's probably gonna like trigger some people.
That's
I love that word, trigger.
Too. Yeah.
But if you work hard, you bring yourself up, and I know that's not always the case, but it is the case. Not even sometimes, a lot of the times. People earn that money. Yeah. They make that money. It's the heart of capitalism. It's the American dream. It's what, it's one of our like founding principles.
Right.
Is, you can get ahead. Everybody wants to get ahead. But when somebody else gets ahead, well, they're a piece of shit because you didn't get ahead.
Right.
And now they have to give you some of their stuff because they made it and you didn't. That's horseshit. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just, it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and I'm a regular person. I have my own faults. I have flaws.
Yeah.
I look at people who have more than I do sometimes and I go, what a douchebag. Look at him riding around in his nice car with his nice suits and all
his
this stuff. It's like, what are you doing right now? But at the end of the day, I got nothing against that guy.
Right.
Really? I mean, I could say that stuff because that's just sour grapes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what it is.
That's what it comes down to. He
has something that I don't have, and at some base instinctual level,
You're jealous.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Right.
I'm jealous. I want that. I want that life.
Right.
Or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I came from, like, I want to, like, make my situation sound more dire than it actually was.
Right, yeah.
You know, growing up, I didn't want for that much.
Yeah.
My parents made sure I was taken care of. I had food.
His
I had
parents
clothes,
were
I had
not
stuff.
rich. They weren't independently wealthy. They both worked. They both, his dad made a decent living. Your mom made a decent living, but they were far from.
They
wealthy.
struggled, but they provided.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't feel that struggle like some people do.
Right.
Once I left home,
that was a different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
Through a lot of my own machinations, admittedly, I didn't have a whole lot. I didn't, keep a job for very long. I didn't have money. I didn't pay my bills. Over the years, I learned not to be such a dumbass and do those things.
Right.
But it took a long time.
You had to grow up.
Yeah. And it takes some people longer than others.
So it does.
I'm not going to make myself the victim here or anything like that. Yeah. But I know what it's like to sleep in your car. Mm-hmm. I know what it's like to beg for food.
Yep.
It's just what it is. And I built up from that. So, when I see somebody who's, looks like they have it easy, is there that part of me that goes, you son of a bitch? Yeah, there is.
Right.
But on a rational human level, when I start thinking with my, human brain, I go, you know what? I don't know what his situation is. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people that look at me and go, I don't know what you're bitching about. You guys so good. Maybe I do.
Yeah.
Compared to.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point too, is comparatively is a big thing that I believe should be used more often, right?
Not to cut you off here.
Yeah.
But, Dave Irons, is $175K enough for Congress? I don't think Congress should be a professional, personally.
Okay.
I don't believe in career politicians. That's just me.
Right.
175K that should be enough for anybody. I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
175K.
That's good money.
That buys a lot of ramen noodles.
It does. Yeah. So, kind of on that for just a minute. My only there that I've thought about in the past. I'm not in favor of raising it, but it does bring up an interesting conundrum, right?
Okay.
So the people who, especially freshman representatives, right? Their first term, they go to Washington, they have to get housing in Washington. A chunk of that money has to be used for, housing in Washington.
Right.
You're not supposed to sleep in your office or any of that stuff. So you figure, probably a good $40,000 a year is going to just maintaining a residence in the Capitol because it's very expensive. So you still get $130,000 after you pay for your residence in Washington. Now, there's a case to be made that the reason that some of these people are so easily swayed is because, it should be they should be paid more.
Well, no, here's the thing.
Okay.
There is no such thing psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as enough.
Right.
There's no, okay, this is the cap.
Yeah.
Given the opportunity to get more, that's how we were raised.
Yeah.
We were raised to always strive for more.
Yep.
Strive for more than what you are. Strive for more than what you have.
Mm-hmm.
Your reach should always exceed your grasp.
Yeah.
These are the things that we instill in our children. Right. And that's, at a base level, that's a good thing. You should strive to have more. Don't accept, where you're at. Better yourself.
Right. Because look.
But here's the other side of that sword.
Right.
Is paying somebody more money isn't going to make them not want more money.
Yeah. It's not going to make them a better person or less. Dave said he spent 14 years in D.C. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that that's something that needs to happen. Whether it is each party have like some kind of dormitory or housing situation for especially freshman representatives. I think that would take care of a lot of the issues with pay.
Well, when we say dormitories, okay, that kind of like paints a certain picture of my mind, at least.
Yeah.
Like, like college dorms and stuff like that, which is basically like you got one room and a roommate and a little mini fridge, and maybe your parents gave you the little microwave.
Right.
I don't think that's what we're talking about here.
No, I don't think so.
We're talking probably like a apartment complex or like a set of condos or something like that.
That's
probably
my guess. Yeah.
Better accommodations than probably even I live in.
Yeah, probably.
But in that case, I wouldn't be against it.
Right. Yeah, Dave says it would give them incentive to work and get to their districts. That's the other thing is, why do these people need so much staff in Washington, D.C. of all places? You should have staff in your district. You should be working for your district.
Yeah, I really can't comment on that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they get almost $1 million a year.
What I can tell you is, working in various jobs throughout the years, I've seen an awful lot of too many redundant positions or made up positions, or a whole lot of chiefs and sub chiefs and
right, and that's the other thing.
Chiefs and
we have so many people that, especially in some of these federal agencies, right, that are just paperwork generators. That's all they do is generate additional paperwork in triplicate, signed and filed. And
no, trust me, I spent some time in the armed forces. I know a little bit about paperwork. So we could make some real changes to our government, but it would require people who went to Washington or whatever who knew they weren't going to get reelected. Right.
Like people that were willing to make the hard choices, that knew that it would, it was the best thing that they could do for their district, but they knew it would just, be blasted by their opponents.
I mean, there's no magic bullet for that.
No, there isn't.
Because, for everyone that is willing to do that, to make that sacrifice for the better good, you got, not to be cynical or pessimistic, but you've got, 10 others that, are willing to, toe the line for, personal benefit.
Right. And so that's really what it comes down to for me with this election for first district.
Well, and
do you know much about the rep who is retiring, Vislavsky?
No, I don't. I'm not someone who has been immersed in the political scene.
Yeah.
I pretty much just, worry about what's in front of me. So everything political is pretty much broad strokes. So no, the answer to that.
Yeah, I was just wondering. We don't really talk politics that much. Other than he said that the broad brushstrokes, even me, I was never.
I kind of call him like a seal.
Yeah, I was never deeply into the whole political scene until recently. But one of the things that I've seen that, in my opinion, is one of the worst things about the system that we have is that people are beholden to party. They do what the party wants versus what...
That really bugs me.
Yeah.
The whole partisan thing. Are you Republican? Are you Democrat? Are you conservative? Are you liberal? Are you this? Are you that? Who cares? This was not... Our country wasn't founded on that. We didn't have... a two-party... Everybody talking about the two-party system. The two-party system. And then you've got you got your libertarians, or you got your little fringe groups, off to the side or whatever. that nobody, really ever takes seriously,
Right.
because it's all about Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal, red or blue or blah, 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 blah. Let's quit that already.
Yeah.
Let's stop it. Just, there's a bill that needs to be passed right there. Is the abolishment of the two-party system. You're no longer a Democrat or a Republican. These things mean nothing anymore.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, that's really important to kind of understand is I understand what you're saying as far as that goes, but it's a lot of times when you look at the ballot, right? Especially like local positions is a different story, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about, your school board or your county commissioner stuff, but especially on a congressional level or presidential level, there's generally some things that you can count on, right? When someone is running under a party platform, right? When you're running as an independent, you don't know, okay? But for me, being a Republican means that I am pro-life, right? I'm against abortion. I am pro-Second Amendment. I am for less government rather than more. When you, in my opinion, and run as a Democrat, you are, in favor of abortion. You want more government control. You want, these are the things that kind of, at least at a glance, split things up for me.
Well, you just hit the problem right on the head.
Okay.
Is we're doing everything at a glance.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's a snapshot.
Right.
And I see this in an industrial setting too.
Yeah.
Is everybody in the higher ups wants to see everything at a glance, a snapshot. They don't want to hear the particulars. They don't want to know the whys or the wherefores. It's just like they don't even look at numbers anymore. They look at colors.
Right.
It's why are we oversimplifying these things? Why are we dumbing everything down? What is wrong with actual rational thought? Not just thought, but rational thought. Quit trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Quit trying to make everything a snapshot, a buzz term, a blurb.
Yeah.
I mean, is our world moving so fast that we don't have time to really think about the things that we do or the things that we say or any of that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is getting to the point of ridiculous.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And
too,
why does it have to be? Well, if you're a Republican, you think this way and you believe this and you're for this and you're against this every time. That's ridiculous. Now you're not representing the people. You're representing a faction.
Mm-hmm.
You're representing a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We've become a feudal state now.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds a lot more tell it on the mountain than it is. But
right.
I mean,
well,
why does it have to be this way?
Well, you brought up earlier that we are so incredibly divided now on just such a huge, partisan nature, and I do agree with that. One of the things that I've seen when kind of jumping into this race and learning about what it takes to do this and what it takes to do that and go into the forums is every other Republican, at least, that I'm kind of running against in the primary, they all kind of have the same, platform.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little that separates most of them. I'm the only one, as far as I know, that I've seen that's for legalization of marijuana. Not so, we can buy it at the gas station, but because the VA can't prescribe it for PTSD, for anxiety, for all of these conditions that could benefit from it. As long as it's on the controlled substances list, especially at its current level, right, with cocaine and heroin, that's the level that it's on, then they're not able to prescribe it because they have to follow federal law. It's a federal agency. But that has traditionally been seen as a Democrat talking point rather than a Republican talking point, right? I think that there's a lot more that we could get accomplished if we didn't have, like you said, these snapshot views to where, this person, is with this party, so they must believe this.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, all this talk of, this party, that party, crossing the aisle. I mean, what,
right.
But there again, you've got a, big country with a lot of people, and a lot of different views.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to represent them effectively.
Right.
When everyone's something different.
Yeah.
But the two-party system is it's broken.
Yeah.
It's not productive. It's causing more harm than good. It needs to go away. Something needs to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
I completely understand from a campaign standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the R or the D, it's very hard to get taken seriously.
Yeah.
Running as an independent is almost like writing a suicide note.
Yeah.
I mean, it's figuratively, obviously,
right. Politically. So that's kind of the gist. Because I did consider it rather than run under a specific mantle, because I feel that there are several ideas I have that's so-called cross the aisle, or
Right.
But yeah, Dave points out something that's correct. In this district, you have to support big business and unions at the same time. Now, that's interesting too, because
but yes, you do,
Mhm.
because big business and unions are, at the end of the day, all your constituents.
Yeah.
And this is just me
Yeah,
talking.
and they
This
rely
isn't
on
some
each
sort
other.
of,
Right.
some sort of line like vote for Dion kind of thing. This is really,
Yeah.
this is just how I feel. Like, these are all just people, and you have to represent them.
Mhm.
And that's very hard, because those things seem like polar opposites.
Yeah. But they rely on each other, though. That's the thing, is you really can't have one without the other. You can't have a good, productive business without workers, not necessarily unions, but
Mhm.
workers.
Right.
And you can't have a union without the business that supports it. Speaking of unions, I'm not going to get into to all that, but District 1 is a very, very pro-union district with Lake County, Porter County, and part of LaPorte.
Mhm.
The steel mills are a critical part of the economy. When I worked at ISP, we had a union, then we didn't, and the whole right to work thing. I think it's important that people understand that, especially people who are union members, that you don't have to vote Democrat in order to support unions.
Right.
There are those that are pro-union, right, and against right to work laws in their current form. So that's a good point. Dave says, but unions traditionally support Democrats. Union leadership traditionally supports the D.
Well, that's the thing that, from my limited experience with unions,
Yeah.
I'm not in a union now.
Right.
I have been at a couple of points in the past.
Mm.
I have dealings with union stuff because of the type of work I do, but traditionally, the union members go with what the union leadership says.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a brotherhood.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they are very, very close knit.
True.
Um,
True. I will say, though, especially with this election, I'm hearing from a lot of union members that are like, they can tell me to vote D all day long,
mhm.
and ain't gonna happen, Captain, not on this ship. So I think that it's important to understand, though, that no one owns your vote. It doesn't matter what
Mhm.
your particular belief system is, whether you belong to a union or a secret society or whatever. No one owns your vote. The only way, especially in the general, the primary, they can tell which primary you voted in. But once you go in the general election, nobody knows who or what you voted for in the general election. Indiana does not, give that information out. It's not public. It's the one thing that you have that you can say whatever you want, right? Yeah, I voted for your guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You vote for who you believe is going to represent your interests the best, all your interests.
Well, I mean, and going on that, if it's not your vote, if you're not voting for who you want to vote for, why are you doing it?
Yeah. Why are you even voting in the first place?
Yeah. I mean, you're not exercising your right at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You're being somebody else's bitch.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is you're being told what to do.
Yeah.
What to do. You've given up an element of your freedom to do something that someone else wants you to do. That's not even a representative government. That's I won't go as far as fascism, but it certainly is a form of control.
It's not right.
Yeah, it's not right. There are ways to vote for things that you believe in, right, without necessarily having to vote on the left, because there are issues with the current system. There are issues that exist, and
just not to put too fine a point on it, but it doesn't matter what club you're in, they both suck.
Oh yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, there are good people and bad people in them, but
right.
Both of them, they're an entity.
Right. So Dave asks, what's your plan to get union support? Is it possible to get donations? Yes. So I have reached out to, I have several friends and family who work at the steel mill or are retired from the steel mill. I cannot not support the steel mill or the unions there. Look, I'm against right to work. Whenever you have an issue,
Oh yeah, you did want one of those.
Yeah, please, thank you. So
I have a.
Yeah, he's got something. I have reached out. I have people who are reaching out. I've reached out to various unions. I'm the only one who is against right to work, who will also protect your Second Amendment rights, who will also stand up for the Constitution. I have spoken at length to people. The word is getting out. Unfortunately, the people who believe that they should vote for who the union wants them to vote for, they're gonna do that regardless. The ones who are open to discussion, I hope that they hear the message. People are sharing it. To me, it's very simple. Unless we get someone into the general on the Republican side, right, that supports labor, I just don't think we're going to carry the general. We have a very, very strong labor base in Northwest Indiana, and unless you can say all day long that you support unions, right? I support unions. But if you are pro right to work, you lose them. You lose unions. They don't want to hear what you have to say. And that's what it comes down to for me, is showing people, look, I am against right to work legislation in its current, and I keep saying in its current form, because a business should be able to, a business can fire someone at any point, but they should be able to collect unemployment if there's no reason for that firing. And that's one thing that right to work makes happen, is you can be fired and not get unemployment, because you can be fired for any reason or at all. That's, Indiana State Prison was that way. You have, with right to work legislation, you have a union that's forced to represent people who haven't paid union dues. They can choose not to pay dues, but then the union still has to treat them as if they paid. It's just not right. The way it's written up, it's not right. In my opinion, you cannot say you support unions and stand up for right to work laws the way they are now. So, I mean, you have your own opinion on that, and I get that.
I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things.
Right.
Especially about, I don't know from like right to work laws, but like I said, I've had experiences with unions. I've worked for places that were union shops.
Yeah.
And I will say from my personal experience, all of them invariably have been bad. I was not represented. I was, they took my money. They were more than glad to take my money and then go, what are you bitching about? I won't talk about what union that was or where it was or any of that because I don't want to, tell stories out of church.
But again, this is, these are his experiences and opinions.
These are just my experiences.
Just his.
And I know people who have had good experiences in unions.
Right.
Some unions are better than others. Just like anything else. But I have seen a lot of instances where, certain unions, not all, certain unions.
Right.
I'm not going to overgeneralize it, but they've kept people around who should have, by all rights, been fired.
Right.
People who have endangered other people's safety. People who have not done their jobs. People who have lost the company money and productivity. They should have been fired. They not only weren't fired, they kept their jobs. They got their raises. They were protected. They weren't allowed, you can't retaliate against them. What do you mean retaliate? You can't. It got to the point where they couldn't be disciplined for not doing their jobs.
Right.
They could do whatever they want. It was a blank check.
Yeah.
So every system has a flaw.
Right.
Right. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of unions. That's just me.
Right. Yeah. And when I was a truck driver, right, I would go to shops, shippers, receivers, where I would sit for hours, sometimes overnight, right? Because unions would, made sure that they had X number of breaks and it was, it's a running joke, right? But I experienced the difference when I worked at ISP. When I first got there, we had a union, right? By the time I left, the union was gone. Yeah, my man Mitch Daniels got rid of the union. It was a completely different atmosphere, completely different place. Morale tanked, plummeted. There was no job security anymore. They could just get rid of you for no reason whatsoever. And sometimes there were situations where discrimination was actually covered up that way. And it's unfortunate, right? So I think it's important to understand that different unions have different, not all unions are bad. Not all unions are good. I've seen some where it's like, holy crap, this place actually runs like this, and I've seen places that, kept it going. There's a difference between being against right to work and wanting unions to have full power and control and all of that.
But that goes right back into that snapshot, that blurb.
Right.
It's all about the buzzwords.
Yeah.
Are you for this? Are you against that? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? Quick, go.
Right. Yeah, your 30 second, your 60 second.
There's no discussion about it. There's no nuance. There's no, that's not a yes or no question. That's kind of a, not to get controversial again, but if we're going to talk about the policy of abortion,
right,
that's not a simple yes or no question.
Right.
Are you for it or are you against it? I don't know. What's the situation? There's some things are very situationally specific.
Mhm.
Should abortion be a viable form of birth control? No, that's stupid. Are there situations where, it's, I don't want to know the line of the term of medically necessary, or,
you're allowed to have whatever opinion, you like. And
that's the thing, is it's not a simple, I'm for it, I'm against it.
Right.
There's a lot of nuances there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to pick my words very carefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, there, and people have broached these subjects time and time again, and we're still in this, are you for it or are you against it? Are you for it or are you against it? Are you for it or against it? And the judges have to take the first answer.
Right. Yeah.
If you're like, yeah, but, well, now you're that's where you're at forever.
Okay, speaking of but, okay, Second Amendment.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you in favor of restrictions on the type of weapon you can own? Because there are people, right, who say
there
that
already are restrictions on the type of weapon that we can
right.
own.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, I want to be very clear. There are people who believe that the Second Amendment should include any and all weapons up to and including nuclear weapons.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wait.
That you should be able to own.
So right now, as the legislation is, I can own a nuclear weapon?
No.
Well, that's a fucking problem.
Right. Here's what I'm saying. I'm just asking, in your opinion.
In my opinion, okay. Right. Number one, I think some of these people, for it, against it, doesn't matter what side you're on, read it. Not the little freaking excerpt from it. Take a copy of the Constitution, read the Second Amendment from beginning to end. There it is. Yeah. Don't take pieces out of it. Don't interpret it. That's not your job. That's the job of the Supreme Court. Okay? Read it. First of all, before you have any opinion whatsoever, if you can't cite the damn thing from beginning to end, you don't have an opinion because you don't know what it is. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay.
So, before you make your judgment, you need to know what exactly it says. And then after that, then you can have an opinion, and then we can go from there. Do I believe that, we need to run around with fully automatic assault weapons? No, I don't. Do I feel like we need to get rid of all assault weapons, which that's such a broad category. If you read, what they consider to be assault weapons, I mean, that's ridiculous. It's like anything with a bullet, is an assault weapon. Come on, let's be realistic. And I do watch some of the videos. I'm a gun owner. I hunt. I carry a firearm for personal protection. I defend my home with a firearm. This is a part of my life. It's been a part of my life. My father had firearms. He hunted. He protected our home with firearms. I was raised around them. That's how I was raised. I believe in it. I believe it's an important thing for people to have. You should be able to defend yourself from whoever. If it's, a burglar coming in your house or a tyrannical government, you should have the means to defend yourself. Read the Second Amendment. Right. It's in there.
Okay.
So, we should have reasonable access to firearms.
What do you define as reasonable?
Where we're at right now is pretty reasonable to me.
Okay.
I don't believe that we have access to anything it's not the tool. Okay. It's the person using it.
Right. I happen to have a little bit broader, interpretation thereof. I think, we're actually very, very restricted on what we can and can't have. And that's something I've gone into in the past. I'm not going to focus a lot on that. We have slightly different beliefs there. I'm just wondering, what's the issue in your mind with, like you said, the ability to have fully automatic weapons, right? Is there really that big of a difference between that and the weapons that were, that the military uses? Why? Here's the thing. The way the Second Amendment was written, and the reason that it was written, was to defend against the government itself.
Right.
Okay? If the government expands and becomes tyrannical, right, in order for the citizenry to protect itself against the government, they need the weapons that the government would employ against them, right?
Okay, so on that...
And this is just a discussion. We're
Right.
just having a discussion.
Right.
I'm not...
On that note, okay?
Yeah.
As cool as I think it would be to have a fully automatic weapon,
Mhm.
it would be cool just
Well,
from a
that'd be
fun
cool.
factor.
Right.
Yeah, I've, like I said, I was in the Army. I fired a fully automatic M16. I fired an M60.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah.
Outside of a combat scenario, obviously.
Right.
In training, just shooting at old tanks and jeeps and stuff. It's a blast.
Yeah.
I won't deny that. I had a pretty good time with that. Now,
Yeah.
when you're talking about having the same stuff as the military,
Yeah.
they have Predator drones,
Right.
and tanks,
Right.
and tactical missiles.
Right. Yeah. ICBMs.
Shooting bullets really fast is not going to help you.
Right. F-18.
And
Right. I'm just curious as to your take on it, because
and to matter. I don't know how it is now. I'm not in the military now, so I don't know what they're doing now. But I know, as I was leaving, they were phasing out the M16A1 and phasing in the M16A2, which did away with fully automatic fire. You went from
Right.
semi-automatic to three-round burst,
right?
which is not the same as fully automatic fire.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
But
going from
the
that
M60
standpoint,
on the other
the
hand,
military didn't feel like the average soldier needed to shoot fully automatic.
right?
They
but
thought it was wasteful and ineffective.
right. But the M60, that's
The
not about to
M60,
get-
the SAW,
right?
but you're talking about
Specific.
you're
Yeah.
talking about full scale,
Right. Right.
warfare here.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about like out in the fields and stuff like that. Especially like I don't think they're necessary.
Okay.
I think you can do this fast enough that it's effective.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of bullets to kill a person.
Right. Right. I was just wondering. Because if you get into the Federalist Papers, which, as a matter of fact, I have that around
You have
here.
somewhere?
I do actually. I was at a gun show. Where they were on this chair, and then they got moved. But anyway, I have them. I have the Federalist Papers, and it actually goes into what it was set up for, how it was intended,
Mhm.
right? And for those people that are like, well, the Second Amendment, when it was designed, they never thought about, fully automatic weapons, which is actually not true, because the Gatling gun was actually in its experimental
Mhm.
phase.
Well, the fact of the matter is,
they only had front loaders and blah 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 blah. Here's the point: the government didn't take into account the internet either.
right.
But here we are. Things.
Well, and this is why I said, before you have an opinion,
Yeah.
read it
Right.
from beginning to end.
Yeah.
People they take these little excerpts
Mhm.
and they interpret it and they twist it and they do whatever and they go, well, this says, well, maybe it does say that if you
Right.
jostle a few of the words around,
Yeah.
or you take this part out or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how they thought about it or what they did or didn't think about. What they thought about was, at some point you may have to deal with a tyrannical government.
Right. Right. Well, I think that's important, because when we look at the Constitution, right,
Mhm.
and specifically, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and the reason that they were set up, okay, the reason that they delineated it the way that they did, we see that our founding fathers were very, very smart people. They feared actually democracy, which is why they set it up as a constitutional republic, a representative type of government rather than just mob rule. But they were well aware that at some point the government could easily become what it has become, which is a burgeoning, massive system that doesn't have the interest of the people at heart. But my point, I guess, with this is, do you believe that it's important to understand the state of mind and the intentions of the framers, or do you think that you should just focus on the written words that were in the documents?
Well, I mean, you need to understand the spirit behind it within reason.
Okay.
You know, there's a difference between, okay, I have a pistol, I have a rifle, I have a shotgun, I have whatever.
Yeah.
You know, just in case.
Right.
Or whatever. And I'm going to go form in the militia.
Okay. You
know, there are people that take things too far.
Okay. So
and they're going to take things too far regardless of what you know, and they bounce back and forth. This whole Second Amendment thing, they bounce back and forth on this stuff, and they're all over the place with it, and they're like, well, you know, there's crime, there's criminals, or people are getting killed. You can't have a gun in Chicago.
Right. Well, they actually
I know they've eased up on that lately
because they had to, because the Supreme Court, the NRA actually sponsored the legislation.
But how long was it? Just, you don't have guns in Chicago.
Yeah, it was a long time. It was a very long time where you weren't even allowed to carry.
People were still getting shot a lot every day.
Right.
It didn't matter. Bad guys are gonna get guns.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yeah.
They discovered that all over the place.
Well, there are those people that the reason
as a matter of fact, I don't know if you read about California and their background checks on ammunition.
Oh yeah. They had background checks before you could buy ammo.
Right, and they discovered
the Supreme Court actually.
Well, they discovered that not only were people who, like regular people, were getting denied for it.
Right.
People who should have been denied weren't.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing was just
for every person that the system caught justifiably, there was like 300 and some that they made an oops.
Yeah. They were.
And they decided that, well, this didn't work anyway because the people that we don't want to get ammo are getting ammo dealers.
Yeah.
They're like, we can't win the war on drugs. We're not going to win the war on guns either.
Yeah.
And that was stated.
Yeah. Well, here's the point of that is we have these people who believe that the Second Amendment is for hunting. Right?
Yeah, no,
okay.
It was not. When that was written, everybody hunted.
Right.
There was no reason to put legislation for hunting because it was just a given. Right. If you wanted to put meat on the table, you went out and you shot it.
Yeah.
That's how it was. You didn't go to you didn't go to Kroger and pick up some ground chuck.
Yeah. Yeah, there are those that are like, well, you don't need an AR-15 to hunt deer. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? It wasn't
You don't need an iPhone 10 to make a phone call. So what?
Yeah.
You don't need a Maserati to get to work. So what?
Right.
It doesn't matter. Once again, your stuff's too nice.
Yeah. So Dave says, first of all, it depends on how you read the comma on the Second Amendment.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, but even the Justice Department has ruled that militia actually, the well-regulated militia actually refers to in good working order is all that well-regulated means. And militia was any adult citizen at that time. They recognized the right of the individual to bear arms. He says we have to have the right to protect against the government. Agreed, especially with what we see today. No tanks. I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be kind of cool to drive a M1A2 down the street.
Yeah,
Haven't we seen
one?
I have not. Have you?
I have not.
Yeah. Okay. I've seen them. I mean, not
they're
up
not
close and personal.
not geared for comfort.
Yeah, they're not exactly comfy. Haven't we seen some governors go too far? Michigan as an example. Yes, I believe that we have. Here's the thing: if you are willing, who was it? I think it was Benjamin Franklin who said, "Those who are willing to give up liberty for security deserve neither."
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
paraphrasing.
Paraphrase, not an exact quote, but that's realistically what it comes down to. Life has risk. It really does. Life worth living, especially, has risk. So that's just the way it is. So we're coming up close on 2 hours now. That lasted longer than I thought it would, but good combo. So I appreciate everybody coming out. If you made it all the way through this video, then you deserve a special prize. I don't know what that prize is, but remember, if you want a sign, let us know. If you want a shirt, let us know. The sign should be in very soon. They emailed me and let me know that phase 2 of the signs are currently in production. So email me, talk@dionbergeron.com, to ask something that you want answered on the show, or if you know someone that you'd like to see on the show, or if you yourself would like to appear. We still got this social distancing stuff for a little bit longer. Jim and I see each other all the time though, so, and plus I don't care. So put that up there for those who
it's not 10 o'clock yet.
Right.
It's not 10 o'clock yet. We're good.
Yeah, see? It's not 10 o'clock yet. So I appreciate everybody if you stuck around. So tomorrow, I'm not sure what we're going to do. We'll figure something out. I might actually have
thanks, Dave.
the wife on there. Thank you. So we've had people come and go. So God bless you and God bless the USA.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2020. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.